I'm Sam, and this is Cooking Cuban. Today my grandmother's making carne con papa, which is a beef and potatoes dish. That is the beef right there, beef for stew, which is seasoned with salt and pepper, which you see there. Do it to your liking. Also, these are the potatoes. Another ingredient you're going to need is sofrito, which can be replaced by sauteed red and green pepper, onions, and garlic, and that is an onion.
Sal y pimienta.
Ah, okay.
Y si tiene sazón completo, yo para que vaya cogiendo el gustico se lo echo.
Ajá. Pero no echaste ningún líquido.
No, ningún líquido. Eso no lleva ningún líquido.
Once again, here is the beef, which is seasoned with salt and pepper. You can also put sazón completo in there if you like, which is basically an all-season seasoning. My grandma's chopping up an onion right now, which we are going to saute in addition to the sofrito that we're going to add later. So here she is chopping up the onions, putting them into the iron pot. I never know what to call that thing. And we have it on high. That way, it starts to cook up real good. That is the sofrito that we're putting in there, which remember can be replaced by sauteed onions, garlic, tomato puree, red and green pepper. So we're mixing it up in there real nice to make sure the onions get soft and kind of translucent as they cook in there with the sofrito. Add salt to your taste and pepper as well, as you see my abuela doing right there. And that is a bay leaf or hoja de laurel with some olive oil that we're putting in there to give it really that extra flavor. And when I say we, I mean my grandma, because right now I'm the camera girl, she's the chef. Next thing you're gonna need is red cooking wine.
Vino tinto.
Vino tinto. Ah, vino tinto.
Red cooking wine.
Ah, sí. My grandma takes the cooking wine and puts it in the can of the sofrito to really get all the flavors out of that can as possible. She doesn't really want me to record it, but that's the trick.
Espérate, no lo vaya a grabar esto, que esto es para lavarlo yo, para aprovechar. Esto pues yo se lo he hecho, pero yo lo hago ahí para, tú sabes, para hacerle así, ¿ves? Para cogerlo. Pero eso
Para
no,
limpiar la lata.
Para limpiar la lata, pero eso no, eso es cosa de uno.
While the onions and the sofrito are being sauteed, we start to peel the potatoes. My grandma seems not to like that knife.
Besete, porque eso no me gusta mucho. No me coge mucho las arrugas de aquí.
My grandma diced up 3 potatoes there. You can decide how much you want. We're cooking for about 10 people, so you can always use less potatoes, less meat.
¿Viste cómo sale? Con 3. Suficiente.
Potatoes are very filling, so remember, with less is kind of more. You can always add if you feel like it's too little bit, but we just use 3 here, and like I said, feeding about 10 people.
Esto ya un poquito para quitarle un poco los rojos.
This is one of my grandma's real big secrets. She uses Maggi jugo. You can also use soy sauce in order to put a little bit into the sofrito so that it doesn't come out so red and has more of like a brownish.
Está rojo, muy rojo. A mí no me gusta. Entonces la carne queda rojiza. Entonces, yo se lo dije a tu mamá también, tu mamá lo está haciendo.
Here we are putting the Maggi jugo in. You can also use soy sauce if you can't find this at your supermarket. Just a bit. Let it saute in there with the sofrito and the onions. It really changes the color and kind of makes it more appealing instead of bright red.
Dice que cuando uno pone así, no salpica, vamos a decir allá. ¿Tú ves cómo cambió el color?
Sí.
Olvida que eso sí siempre hace falta.
Now we've added the meat so that it starts to get all the flavor from the sofrito. And what my grandma's about to explain in her next comment is that if you have a pressure cooker that can go on top of the stove, you don't have to dirty any more pots. You can just use the pressure cooker on top of the stove and cook it there. But the pressure cooker she has is apparently for lazy people. You just put it in, you press a button, and the meat cooks.
Y en la otra olla de presión tú lo haces, acabaste de hacer todo eso, apresúrate la olla y ya, pero allí no. Allí no puedo sofreír porque no puedo destaparla para sofreír.
Ah, okay.
Ella cocina nada más que cerrar, es la reina.
Sí.
Porque es para la gente apurada.
Ajá.
Y esto es la gente que no tiene mucho gusto. Entonces, o sea, uno le hace así para que coja todo gustito.
Claro.
Y entonces, por eso queda buena la carne. Sí.
So if this was a stovetop pressure cooker, you could just throw in some garlic and the potatoes that we chopped up earlier right in here after the meat has been mixed up with the sofrito. You can close the pressure cooker and just leave it cooking for 12 to 15 minutes. Now, if you open it up and you realize the meat is not soft enough, you can put it in for another 5 minutes. Here's my grandma chopping up some garlic to throw into the rest of the mixture, the meat and the sofrito mixture. She's also going to put the potatoes in there. And because she doesn't have a stovetop pressure cooker, she's going to transfer to La Reina, her pressure cooker, which translates to the queen, and cooks everything very quickly, but it's just not a stovetop pressure cooker.
Es que me he puesto chiquita, ya el caldero me queda acá arriba, por eso tengo que meterlo ahí.
Reminder, my grandma is transferring this from her pot to her pressure cooker because she doesn't have a stovetop pressure cooker. Otherwise, she could have just left it cooking on the stove for 15 minutes. If you don't have a pressure cooker at all and you still want to make this dish, you can. Just leave it in your pot, and you're going to have to leave it for about an hour, continuously stirring and stirring to make sure that the meat does not stick to the bottom. And once the meat is soft, then your carne con papa is finished.
Ahí en bajito.
Porque si no, y revuelve, para que no se pegue.
Pero lo vamos a hacer modernos, cubanos modernos.
Now that we have transferred from our pot to my grandma's pressure cooker, we're going to throw in the potatoes on top of the meat. Like I said, if you're cooking on the stovetop or a stovetop pressure cooker, you would have already thrown in the potatoes and stirred it up, and you would be letting it cook, let the meat ablandar, which is let the meat soften over time. So what you really want to do is wherever you are mixing in the potatoes, whether it's on the stove or here in your pressure cooker, you want to make sure you mix it in well with the meat and make sure it all gets moist so that way it cooks well and it also blends into the flavor. Here's my grandma's pressure cooker. She already put it in there. Press the button. 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes is what you want to soften your meat for. And once it's done, well, it will open up, voila, and taste delicious. Let's see. This is what it looks like after prep and 12 to 15 minutes in the pressure cooker, or about an hour in a regular pot, mixing and mixing. This is the carne con papa pictured with rice and beans and tostones, which is fried plantains.
Okay, so this is my carne con papa, well, my grandma's. I will hopefully make it just as good, and hopefully you will too. The meat is so soft, tender, delicious. Obviously the pressure cooker did the work. Otherwise you would just leave it in the pan for like hours, my grandma said, for it to get this soft. And then what I did was I put like the little juices from the meat onto the rice. So good. So good. And this, what you see here, is a toston, okay? I will teach you to make this a different day. I know how to do this. It's so good. It's like a fried plantain with mojo, like some garlicky sauce. Perfect pairing for this most scrumptious meal that I'm devouring right now. Like a fat ass by myself. Because no one else is in here eating at the moment. But whatever, I've been cooking for hours. Go make some.
A veces hace espuma. ¿Y qué yo hago? Le pongo yo lo tengo aquí el huevo y eso lo estoy haciendo porque es al momento y a veces tengo que hacer así para que no, y se baja la espuma.
Así como en la soda cuando te pones
Exactamente.
Que tú me enseñaste eso.
Bueno, la soda que hay que echarle agua a la sopa. Eso es dicho cubano. Oye, ahí está María, échale agua a la sopa.
Sí, porque tiene que alcanzar.
La madre la hace buena. Yo la hago bien.
Sí. Está riquísimo. It is good, Mom. Yours is good too.
Mine is very good.
Yeah, I saw your notes, so don't try to lie. Don't try to
Saw
fake
my
it.
notes when I started, huh?
That's right. Don't try to fake it.
No, I'm not faking it. Tell the truth. I used to call her. Hey, how do I make this? And I used to write it down. Yeah, yo le enseñé a ella escribiendo.
Ella lo escribía.
Sí. Yo le llamaba, mami, ¿cómo hago esto? Entonces ella me hizo Samantha when I come there.
Now you pass it down to her.
Yeah, now she's doing it herself.
If you have any questions on how to make carne con papa, just comment, subscribe, write me. I will help you out with this, any other dishes. Remember, subscribe and share.